Junior youth groups are popping up all over the world. They were inspired by the teachings of the Baha'i Faith on the oneness of humanity and the spiritual purpose of creation. Here's a video clip I found on the web which showcases some of the perspectives they offer, including the moment when a new junior youth group is being introduced to the program and the first book in the series of the educational materials. My name is Faizy Crofts, and I'll be presenting on the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program, my service learning agency.
Can someone read for me what this book says? Tuba. Breezes of Confirmation, right. And what this book is it's a story about a junior youth much like you guys. So it's a 13-year-old girl named Musanda. And we're going to read about some experiences that she's had. It'll help us ask some of these questions that I think we're all facing. Questions about what we want to do with our life, how can we best be of service to humankind.
This junior youth program affected my life, drastically. Every time I'm around somebody new, I try and think of what I learned and how it would affect other people, and I try and spread the knowledge.
I've learned that my actions have a lot of effect on people, and it taught me to reflect on my day and show what's good and bad and how I could change for next day.
In thinking about the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program, I actually often think about the animating and empowering influences of certain kinds of guides and heroes of past and present. They don't seem to rule over the generations of young people and communities, but rather the bond of relationship is mutually vital and conductive of equality and justice in the world. The Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program seeks to develop the kind of dynamic in communities where the young are engaged, developing leadership qualities and reaching within themselves to forge pathways to education and service to the world of humanity. The program serves junior youth. A junior youth is a person between the ages of 11 and 14. This is a unique age with critical developmental needs and potentials because they are developing adult skills and dimensions of thought and engagement while transitioning out of a childlike experience. From Book 1, I have here a quotation: "Let your heart burn with loving kindness for all who may cross your path." So what is an animator? So, we're just sort of moving through these terms that might be unfamiliar with you. So, older youth around the world are recognizing the significant role they play in the lives of those younger than themselves. They are called animators and serve as trained facilitators for groups. So it's talking about older youth as animators, which I'm not a youth and I am an animator. By older youth is intended young adults 15 years of age and older, and younger than the age of 30. Ideally, these are the animators. However, I and many others are outside that age range. My sense is we're finding that older people can be really valuable animators in many ways, though no official word on that yet. Still, when youth reach the age of 15, we encourage them to train as animators. For one very good reason, it can be immensely beneficial for them personally to transition directly out of a junior youth group into mentoring and animation. Secondly, they're often eager to share their learnings and to continue the work of community building. So we will also touch on the style of animation and how that is different from what we traditionally think of as facilitation. So an animator is a kind of facilitator. So the mission of the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program is to develop in junior youth their spiritual perception, their powers of expression, and their moral framework, including developing and carrying out service projects based on the needs of their communities. And that's a direct quotation from Amelia Daly, Junior Youth Coordinator of Nashville, and by the way, she's my sister. Though inspired by the teachings of the Baha'i Faith, the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program generally seeks to distance itself from branding, ownership, and patterns of paternalism, such that at this time there is no official logo, emails, or email addresses, or letterheads. As you know, this actually posed a bit of a challenge for my meeting the service learning requirements for this course. The program, in other words, is really for junior youth themselves. There are actually no employees, really. There are people who receive a modest stipend in special circumstances, but the whole agency consists of volunteers. In Nashville, that's 12 animators and 2 coordinators. There's no social workers on staff, at least at the Nashville location. Nashville has had at least 1 junior youth coordinator since 2010. So I wanted to share a note concerning one aspect of leadership culture in this agency. It has to do with how introversion is honored. In years past, I've worked with Aram Ferdowsi before Amelia became my supervisor. She's the Iranian woman to the left. I commented to her once that in all we do, I noticed that the people at the top positions of responsibility have been mainly these soft-spoken, often introverted women. In fact, in Nashville, that's exclusively been the case for as long as I've been involved. And that this is so different from what I see in the wider culture. In fact, it's the gentle, listening character that makes them so effective in their role. This really flips the paradigm of paternalism we see in the larger society. When they do have speaking occasions, it's amazing to see how people lean in and hang on every word. It's just a beautiful thing to participate in this kind of community, and it affords me a lot of opportunities for learning and growth. And I feel this is really largely lacking in the wider society. And I've just included some qualities leadership qualities that I've noticed all of the leaders in this organization have had that I've dealt with personally, and also some specific qualities that they individually possess. And, you know, my sister, of course, I'm very partial to her. I feel like she's a really, really wonderful and effective in her role. And she is super introverted, and also in a very kind way, she's assertive, which is really interesting, just these kind of unique leadership qualities that we find in these kinds of communities. So as to funding, in most communities, it is the Regional Training Institute. Our RTI board is really new and doesn't have a treasurer. This is all a direct quote from Amelia Daly. Funding comes from the Regional Baha'i Council. These offices receive their funding from individual donations from the Baha'i communities. So primary challenges in offering effective service really has to do with promoting the pedagogy. It's trying to promote the empowerment pedagogy, Amelia says. With the conventional top-down approach in a regular public school, the idea is that they are empty cups and that the teacher will fill them with their knowledge. Empowerment is fundamental to our program. It's the idea that the junior youth themselves have these talents and abilities, and through this community of mutual support, they'll discover what their talents are, and they'll be able to use them. So there's this idea that they already have these talents latent within them that just need to be channeled. And where is the organization headed? Towards community building. So Amelia says that the vision of the program in the neighborhood is that parents will also become involved in this educational program. There are also courses that are developed for parents to also cultivate their capacity for service. So the vision of the junior youth program is about community building, getting everyone in the community involved in education and service. When I asked Amelia what are some examples of impacts the spiritual empowerment program has had on individuals and communities, she said that it has allowed the junior youth to see themselves as being capable agents of change. Now, I've seen young people get in and out of trouble and turn into these spiritual beings. In my own community, we have had really nothing but positive changes, and it's been incredible connecting with family and community when there are problems, and then there's some healing together. It's been the most uplifting thing, and a great antidote for the cynicism that you can breathe in. So I wanted to close just showing you a video clip of a few of the junior youth group members in my community that have aged out. This is, you can see to the right, my son Ethan. Left of him is our friend Brandy. Left of her is my foster daughter Jenny. So thank you very much for your time. This has been a pleasure. So yeah, there's a lot of sweetness and a lot of good memories there. And then we'll just move on to the citations. And hey, it's been great being your classmate.